Well, I had to hit a dud eventually. Um, the other night, I was going through social media, and actually I'd noticed it a couple of times over a couple of days that this movie Hunted, which dropped on Shudder on January 14th of this year, was kind of getting praised, and I was seeing a lot of stuff about it. And I even saw a tweet from Joe Bob, I think, Joe Bob Briggs, a couple of weeks ago. He didn't say the name of the movie at the time. I think he was kind of hinting toward it, but he was saying that there was a movie coming out on Shudder soon, and that he really enjoyed it and people should check it out. So with all that in mind, I thought, okay, well, I'll give it a shot. And yeah, this one was not for me whatsoever. The film was directed and co-written by Vincent Perronneau. I think it's like a French comic artist and filmmaker, and was co-written by Léa Pernollet. It stars Lucy Dubé as Eve. The names are not coming to me right. I'm going to read them. I'm going to read the names, okay? It stars Lucy Dubé as Eve, Araye Wolfalter as the guy or the handsome, Kieran O'Brien as the accomplice, Ryan Brody as Jeremy, and Simone Milsdoctor as the huntress. I just found the film had like no direction, and was just kind of clumsy and didn't make sense half the time. It opens with this fairy tale that I think the grandma, the huntress, is telling to her grandson about this zealous priest, and he's taking his followers through the forest, and anyway, they try to basically decide they're going to eat this woman, and the forest rises up to save her, kind of a thing. And I guess they're trying to set up some of the supernatural elements that are going to crop up in this story later on, but really it's completely disconnected. The main crux of this story is that this woman named Eve, she is working in this, it seems like it's a remote place somewhere in Europe, and she decides to blow off some steam. She goes out, has some drinks. She's going to hook up with this guy, and she basically gets kidnapped by this guy and his friend. It's sort of like a rape revenge without the rape. Like they don't assault her really in that fashion. They kidnap her. Through the course of the film, you find out that these guys, it seems like they go around and they find young women, they kidnap them, they rape them, and they kill them, and they make these snuff films or something like that. They've got a video camera with the whole time, and sometimes they view some of the videos on the video camera. There's nothing really explicit in the movie, sexual or otherwise, to be honest, but it gives you enough of you know what's going on. So that's why I say it's kind of like a rape revenge without the actual rape. They don't actually assault Eve, but they hunt her down and chase her throughout the film. The two bad guys, though, they pretty much just bumble their way through the film, constantly making mistakes. They have pretty much everything set against them, and it just makes them kind of comical when I don't think it's supposed to be comedy. And I just find the main guy in it, the main bad guy, I just find him so over the top. He's supposed to be an American, and he does a fairly good American accent, but the character is so over the top. I think he's played by a Belgian actor, and it's just it's kind of off-putting. Near the end of the film, you start to get used to it, and it kind of starts to make sense a little bit. But throughout most of the film, he's just kind of I don't know. I did not like the portrayal. But yeah, they basically bumble through the essentially what happens is Eve gets into this forest, and the forest starts helping her, I guess. And they're hunting her down, and it just seems like it doesn't make any sense. Like, these guys are just bumbling around, and somehow they keep running into her. Like, it's like she's lucky on the one hand but completely unlucky on the other. Like, it seems like it's a fairly large forest, you could get lost in it, but yet somehow she just keeps finding these guys. There's a clear kind of Red Riding Hood fairy tale theme woven into it as well, which I guess kind of makes sense. Near the end of the film, things start to get a little surreal and a little strange, so I guess that kind of ties in, but I didn't really feel like it went anywhere personally. And it is kind of weird near the end when everything starts to get surreal, because you kind of understand it from the perspective of Eve. She's been through a lot, and you could see things kind of like her mind kind of unhinging a little bit. But there are scenes where the bad guy, the handsome, or whatever they call him, he starts to kind of like experience almost like surreal stuff that's going on, and it doesn't really explain why he would be. So that I found that kind of disjointed. It didn't really make sense. And there's even this scene at the end, and I don't want to spoil everything too much, but it just makes absolutely no sense. So a little bit of a spoiler alert here, and I'll put something on the screen, and then it'll come off the screen when I'm done. But he's chasing Eve through the forest, and at this point she's kind of fighting back. It's almost actually like she's chasing him through the forest at this point, because she wants her revenge. And these paintballers go through, and the whole thing is like really surreal, and you don't even know if it's really happening in a way, because it seems like they're both experiencing like, I don't know, delusions or something. But they seem to pass through them, and there's this guy, you know, he's bloody, he's beat up, and there's this woman, she looks like a wild woman, and they don't seem to react to it whatsoever. And then one of them shoots a paintball and hits Eve in the face, and then she ends up with this paint, almost like war paint on her face for like the last 20 minutes of the film. And it's just like, did it actually happen? It had to have actually happened. So somebody shot her in the face and no one thought to stop to talk to these two? Like, it really doesn't make any sense. So ultimately, maybe there's some depth there that I'm not picking up on, but I just found, like, if there's some kind of story that's there that I'm supposed to be picking up that I'm not, and I somehow missed it, I don't really know how. It just felt like a bunch of disjointed random events almost by the end of it, that none of which I found particularly interesting. It's not really gory. There is some kind of like gory, bloody scenes, I guess, and it's practical effects for the most part. I did see some CG stuff in there, but you know, it's, I don't know. I thought I heard that this movie had like a really gory ending, and it didn't at all. If you ask me, it just has a kind of a crappy fight scene, but it doesn't really have really much to write home about in my book. I can't really recommend it myself. That's just me. I did not like this movie at all. But it is on Shudder, so if you have a Shudder subscription, you can check it out. It was like an hour and a half long, so not a huge time sink if you think it's something that's for you. But personally, I couldn't put it over. I think I gave it like a 1.5 on Letterboxd because I was just kind of annoyed at how much time I wasted on it. Personally, an hour and a half was too much time for that movie, but I did slog through it and get to the end, and I just did not like this movie. So that's everything, guys. I hope you enjoyed this review. Keep your eye out for more reviews. If you like the movie, please let me know in a comment or whatever. And if you dislike the movie, let me know why you dislike the movie. I love the conversation that we get to have in the comment sections and stuff like that of these videos, and that's why I do it. So I really want you guys to comment or hit me up on social media or whatever, and so we can chat about these movies. But until next time, cheers.